A Look at Seniors is underwritten by the generous support of Berkshire Bank. For over 165 years, Berkshire Bank has delivered excellent service and performance. Berkshire Bank, America's most exciting bank. With additional support from Judson Meadows, caring for you, and respite stays available too. And The Mortgage Place, offering low rates, a wide variety of programs, expert advice, and exceptional service.
Don't tell us who we are. We're not about ordinary, we're about extraordinary. We're not just about numbers and names. We're about individuals and knowing that no two customers are alike. We're not too small to help. We're not too big to know you. We're about big bank resources with small bank attention. Hey, we believe those important moments in your life should be exciting. Don't you? Life is exciting. Let us help. Berkshire Bank, America's most exciting bank.
I'm Tim Bartos, and I'm here at Judson Meadows, and I'm talking with Ruth about the importance of pet visits.
Pet visits are wonderful. It's one of the things that brings our residents the most joy. There's nothing like the unconditional love of a pet jumping up in someone's lap and bringing a smile to their face. It's fantastic.
And we love our pet visits and welcome them with open arms. Judson Meadows, an assisted living community, the art of aging well.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, as many of you know, each week we're devoting a segment each week to seniors and their concerns and issues facing them and their families in our community. And joining us this week is a good friend of mine, Ken Seeber, who is Vice President of Relationship Management at Berkshire Bank. And welcome back to Lois Celeste, who's the Executive Director. I almost forgot to introduce you. The Executive Director of the Saratoga Senior Center. You're here every week, just back again. We do a lot of work with Ken in a lot of different areas, and Lois and I thought we'd like to bring an expert in. Now, a lot of banks offer a lot of these services, but again, because of my relationship with Ken, we thought we'd bring him in and discuss some of the issues concerning seniors that you see from your perspective in terms of finance, financial planning, and also some of the possible solutions for our viewers. Before we went on air, we were talking, and something really hit me. The first thing you went to were scams and fraud. Right. I would have never expected that. So explain to me a bit about what you face in that area.
Yeah, it's really shocking. On a daily basis, we're a small bank, but yet a large bank, almost 100 locations throughout 4 states. And on a weekly basis, we hear about I see it myself when I'm in a branch. A senior will come in, and not necessarily a senior, anybody, 50 years old and older, we've seen them come in looking to withdraw money or wire money, and 9 times out of 10 it's to another country. And we're trained to ask questions. Our branch staff, they're trained on a monthly basis. They take courses to identify these sorts of things. And a lot of times they'll come in looking to wire money to somewhere in Europe, and you'll ask a question, what are you doing? And my grandchild is traveling over there, and I got an urgent email or I got an urgent call to wire a substantial amount of money to them because they're in need, they're traveling. So ask a little bit deeper. Have you spoken to your child to see if they're actually traveling overseas, or you ask them. So it's just it's amazing that this goes on, and we see it on a daily, weekly basis. So really, by asking the right questions on our side, we can kind of fight this and get them to take a step further, make sure they make the phone calls to find out if their grandchild is really traveling overseas. And that's just one of many. The lottery scam, I'm sure we were talking earlier, you've heard of that. They'll get a phone call from somewhere in Africa saying that they just won the Nigerian lottery, and that they've got to wire $5,000 in order to collect $2 million. And it happens quite often. We try to catch as much of it as we can, but sometimes it happens. So
I'm stunned by that, really. I mean, we get these emails all the time. You just hit delete. You can tell right away. I'm a princess from someplace, and I've got to give you $50 million. Right. I love getting them, by the way, but you never answer them. But think about that. You're more vulnerable, right? And you see that.
Yeah, I see it a lot. We just did a presentation on scams and fraud because we see it a lot. People walk in the door. Probably in the last month, I've seen somebody with Social Security, 2 of their checks taken. Just had a question on some medical bills, and then even identity theft and these scams. And I think like you said, you get one of these emails on your computer, you hit delete, it's gone.
That's right.
Some of these seniors are not all that tech savvy.
Right.
So, and if you open one of these and now you open that link, you potentially just opened yourself up as well. So I think it's more often than not we do see it. Our advocates there to help them through it. Last week I sat there and made a bunch of calls, called the Attorney General's office, all of that, just to double check some things.
Right.
So it's going on, and I think why the seniors, like you said, it can happen to anyone. Any one of us get those emails. Why the seniors? They're a vulnerable population, and they're being targeted.
Boy, they surely are. I just was thinking one that I received this week. You have a package you need to pick up, send a check, and here, we're a media company, so we're getting a lot of packages delivered on a daily basis. Always look at the URL, because the URL wasn't UPS, it was USP.
Right.
And they're getting so sophisticated, so watch out. If you're getting these emails, if you're a senior or if you're the child of a senior, make sure that your parents are protected in this regard. All right, let's jump to the other side of this. Wealth management.
Yep.
People, I'm sure that covers, that's a very broad term, right? Now you see, the thing that you said to me is that, and this makes sense, is that as people get older, they become much more protective, is the word you used, of their assets.
Yeah.
Because they're living off of them in a lot of cases, right?
And for a lot of years, potentially.
And you see this, right?
I see it, and we also see they are stuck sometimes. Well, I made this retirement plan 30 years ago, and I'm in my 90s now, and I'm not going to change anything. I'm good. But the times are changing, so I think you do have to reevaluate.
We were talking to someone you might remember in one of the other segments about hospitals. It used to be a one-way street. You get sick, you go to the hospital, you leave. That's changed dramatically. I know it's the same in the banking industry, right? Used to be you put your money in, you get some interest, and you leave. But now you're much more connected.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about wealth management.
Sure. Wealth management needs change from from my age to your age to from
Careful
somebody.
there, bud.
Right.
Careful there.
50, but. No, it needs change, based on age. So we like to approach a young professional that's just starting off, or somebody who's getting ready to retire, to sit down with them and kind of get an assessment of what their needs are. Sit down with them, sit down with their children, to get an idea of what they have for assets. Do they have a pension? Are all their money tied up, in liquid accounts such as CDs, money markets? So you tend to see the risk tolerance, the younger somebody is, the more risk they can take. The older they get, the more risk adverse they are. So our job is to sit down with them and kind of do an assessment of their needs to figure out what part of their life they're in, and we can kind of make a financial plan for them. A common thing that we act as through wealth management, we'll act as trustee for that estate, we'll act as executor for them, to kind of keep it impartial. When somebody passes away and you're dealing with an estate, to have a family member named as executor or trustee sometimes creates a lot of tension throughout the family. So we step in as executor and we make those decisions. We act as trustee for them. So it's been more and more, it's a common practice that banks are involved, that deeply into somebody's financial relationship. So
I got it. I think I was telling you before we went on air, I had a personal friend who was near 90 years old and didn't have a family, and he relied on his trust officer at the bank. Sure. And that person paid their bills, paid his bills, managed his estate, and just made certain that he was taken care of. So, if you're fortunate enough to have family members, you can rely on them. You work together with that person and their family to try to figure out where they are and what the best possible course is. But even if you're on your own, to have that relationship with a bank, the key word being relationship, right?
That's what it's all about, not just a place to deposit your money or collect interest on a CD. We're there as advisors to help everyone through their life process. So.
I think the bottom line there, and you and I talk a lot about this, is that there are many resources out there for all of the different aspects that, the sum and total is the well-being of that person as they age. Yeah. Whether they're aging in place, whether they're moving into the system, participating in all the things that go on at the senior center, their own personal financial health. That one phrase that you said to me, which I didn't think of, was risk tolerance, and that's got to be central to it, right?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. You don't want to, you see, there's a bank's an institution. We're looking out for the well-being of that customer. And that's another thing to go back to scams. There's a lot of other companies out there, financial advisors, that are looking at the bottom line, looking to earn a dollar, on them and not put somebody into the right product. So, like anything else, going to the doctor, getting your car checked out, take it, go to a few people and get a few different opinions before you make a decision. So, it's really important.
Well, Ken, great to see you as always.
You as well. Definitely.
Thank you. And so that black Ferrari I wanted to talk to you about.
We'll make you a great deal on it. Just let us know. So.
Thanks, Lois. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Jesse.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.